There aren't many fantasy movies released these days, and among those few, there are even fewer truly interesting ones. You can count them on one hand, which is why most of them are quite well known. Nevertheless, I've tried to compile a list of lesser known but still very captivating fantasy films from recent years for you. You are, as always, on the Film Mix channel, so click the subscribe button not to miss new videos, and let's get started. Magic Journey to Africa. Young Amelie is passionate about alchemy, and through it, she gains a magical power to influence the flow of time. However, misusing this magic leads to terrible consequences. Amelie is split in two. One part remains in the present, while the other is trapped in the past. On top of that, an evil sorcerer named the Lord of Runes, long forgotten in darkness, returns, seeking to gain control over all the magic of Aberon. To achieve this, he must strip Amelie of all her magical powers. The Magic Flute. 17-year-old Tim dreams of getting into a prestigious music school to become a singer. When he is accepted, it seems like his dream has come true. However, the world of this privileged school is full of antagonists weaving intrigues. One day, while wandering around the mansion, Tim discovers a mysterious door and enters a magical new world where imagination has no limits. Tim is soon caught up in a whirlwind of events. By day, in his ordinary reality, he prepares for an upcoming concert, and by night, he returns to the magical universe, risking his life to rescue the beautiful Princess Pamina. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Bard and adventurer Ejin Darvis, along with his battle partner Helga, escapes from prison and sets out to see his daughter, who has been under the care of his former accomplice Forge for the past few years. Upon arrival, it turns out that Forge, with the help of the suspicious sorceress Sofina, has not only become incredibly wealthy and a governor, but has also turned Egin's daughter against him and is quite intent on getting rid of Egin and Helga. After managing to fend off the executioners, the desperate duo plans a fierce revenge. To do so, they must team up with the scatterbrain mage Simon and the skillful druid Doric to find a long-lost magical helmet. The first day of my life. 4 strangers find themselves in the house of a mysterious man, a failed coach, a police officer, a former gymnast, and an overweight teenager. They all share a desire to end their lives. The one who brought them together offers the heroes an incredible opportunity to see what life would be like if they disappeared from it. The secret of the Enchanted Mirror. Nelly, her loyal dog London, and their timid, know-it-all friend Wally venture into a dark forest to find a mysterious artifact, the Mirror of Death. The Enchanted Mirror is supposed to help Nelly uncover the mystery of her mother's disappearance. This journey is crucial for her. Encountering all sorts of magical creatures along the way, the heroes face danger. Now, the salvation of the human world from dark forces depends on them. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Thanks to grueling training and his father's harsh upbringing, Shang-Chi reached incredible heights in martial arts. But he chose a different life than his father had planned for him. Working as a valet in San Francisco, Shang-Chi is confronted by the ghosts of his past. Together with his friend Katie, he is drawn into a whirlwind of fantastic events connected to the mysterious organization known as the Ten Rings. 3 wishes for Cinderella. Meeting a handsome prince in a snowy forest, Cinderella falls in love with him at first sight. However, she doesn't dare to reveal her name, as she is just an orphan servant to her wicked stepmother and her daughter. But everything changes when a kind hunter gives Cinderella 3 magical nuts that grant any wish. This is how she ends up at the royal ball. The King's Daughter. This story is about King Louis XIV, the Sun King, who decided he must live forever. A certain sorcerer told the king that to obtain the elixir of eternal life, he must capture a real mermaid. The king sends a band of adventurers to find the siren, but standing in the way of his mad plans are 2 people, the mermaid's guardian and Louis's 18-year-old daughter, a rather rebellious princess. The Addams Family. When getting married, any girl realizes that she is marrying not just him, but his whole family as well. Newlyweds Luana and Adalberto find out they will soon be parents, and the young husband has no choice but to introduce his beautiful wife to his family. Luana can't even imagine that she will be related to vampires, zombies, witches, and ghosts. Help! I Shrunk My Friends. A new student named Melanie has joined Otto Leonard's school. She is sweet, cheerful, and a bit naive. Felix immediately takes a liking to her, much to the irritation of Ella and their group, who believe that Melanie is behind the petty thefts that have increased at school since her arrival. But when these incidents nearly ruin Felix and Melanie's date, it's the last straw, and Felix decides to teach his friends a lesson by shrinking them to 1/10 of their size. After Melanie disappears along with a magic orb, things get serious for the heroes. The Time Thief, an 11-year-old boy, lives in the small town of Saint-Élie-de-Caxton. He is raised by his beloved grandmother, who believes that death no longer exists. Trying to convince her grandson of this, she tells him about her exciting adventures in her youth, about how, in the distant year of 1927, the residents of this town managed to defeat the threat of death through astonishing tricks. Her story brings extraordinary people back to life, and from now on, death will only appear in legends and myths. But is this true in real life, or is it just a product of imagination? You will find out only by watching this film. 3,000 Years of Longing. British linguist Alithia flies from London to Istanbul to give a lecture on narrative. Already at the airport, she starts seeing mysterious creatures. When she buys a glass bottle in one of the many souvenir shops and tries to clean it, a real genie appears before her. Alithia is not in a hurry to make wishes. She's more interested in hearing his story and how he ended up in the glass bottle. Brahmāstra, Part 1, Shiva. Legends say that the Brahmāstra is the most powerful and accurate weapon in the history of humanity, one that always finds its target and cannot be deflected. However, it can only be used once in a lifetime, as it has the power to destroy the entire world. A modern young man named Shiva discovers within himself the power of fire and a mysterious connection to this very Brahmāstra. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Professor Albus Dumbledore learns that the powerful dark wizard Grindelwald is planning to take over the world. Realizing he can't stop him alone, he asks magizoologist Newt Scamander to lead a team of outstanding wizards and a brave muggle baker. They face an incredibly dangerous adventure, encounters with old and new magical creatures, and a battle with Grindelwald's supporters, who are growing in number. Ghoster. Elizabeth and her father arrive at the Echoville estate, which they inherited. The luxurious mansion has 30 rooms, inhabited by kind and very friendly ghosts. One of the ghosts tells Elizabeth that he has been stuck in Echoville for 50 years, and Elizabeth decides to help her new friend find freedom. Violent Night. On Christmas Eve, an armed group takes a wealthy family hostage because there's a big loot of $300 million in the safe. Just before the capture, the captive parents gave their 7-year-old daughter a radio that can connect to the real Santa Claus. And this tough Santa won't leave the girl in trouble on this night. School for Good and Evil. For 200 years, every 4 years, a mysterious kidnapper comes to the town of Gavaldon to choose 2 teenagers and take them to the School for Good and Evil, which trains new fairy tale characters, heroes, and villains. All her life, Sophie has been waiting for this moment to become a beautiful, good princess from a fairy tale and marry a handsome prince. Unlike her best friend Agatha, a gloomy, unloved girl who doesn't want to lose her only close person. But when the girls are kidnapped, their fates are reversed. The Last Witch. Captain Ewan Boya of the City Guard loses his job due to a theft that happened during his duty. He decides to find the thief on his own and ends up in a mystical world of demons. Here, he meets the sorcerer Qing Ming, who is involved in a conflict between the human world and the demon world. Boya becomes Qing Ming's ally, helping him uncover a conspiracy and save the human world from being destroyed by demons. Dolittle. 7 years ago, Dr. Dolittle, a renowned veterinarian living in Victorian England, lost his wife. Now he lives a reclusive life, hiding behind the high walls of his estate. The exotic animals in his collection are his only company. But when an unknown illness threatens the life of a young queen, Dr. Dolittle is forced to leave his sanctuary and embark on an incredible journey to a mythical island. In search of a cure for the queen, he faces ruthless enemies, meets bizarre creatures, and is compelled to show remarkable courage and a bit of wit. Green Knight. A local king is celebrating Christmas in his castle, surrounded by his court and loyal knights. Suddenly, a mysterious Green Knight arrives at the castle and issues a challenge. Anyone present may strike him, but in 1 year and 1 day, they must meet the Green Knight at the Green Chapel, 9 days' journey to the north, and receive a return blow. Young Sir Gawain, the king's nephew and only heir, volunteers for the duel and beheads the strange guest. However, the Green Knight, reattaching his head and refusing to die, reminds him of their agreement and departs. A year later, true to his word, Sir Gawain sets off on a perilous journey to face his fate. Long story short, Teddy is a classic procrastinator, always late, finding countless excuses not to fulfill his duties, and not valuing his or others' time. One day, he wakes up after his wedding and discovers that every 24 hours, he jumps forward an entire year of his life. Now, he must not only fight for love, but also learn to truly cherish every moment of life. secret garden, suddenly orphaned, young Mary is forced to move to her uncle's mysterious mansion in England. The rules strictly forbid her from leaving her room or wandering the vast corridors of the house. But one day, Mary discovers a secret door that leads to an amazing world where all wishes come true, the secret garden. Nelly Rapp, monster agent. When Nelly goes on vacation to a mysterious family estate, she has no idea how much her life will change. It turns out her uncle is a monster hunter, dealing with creatures no one even knew existed. From now on, Nelly's greatest dream is to enroll in the academy for protecting the world from dark forces. But first, she must pass a tough test that no other school has, a test to catch a dangerous mythical creature. The Princess and the Time Rune. The witch Muriel has cast a powerful curse on Princess Ellen and her kingdom, set to come true on her 20th birthday, right after sunset. To save her realm, the princess must unravel the mystery of the time loop in which she finds herself. She must complete a quest and defeat the dark magic. The Legend of Tomiris. Among the ancient peoples who inhabited the vast Eurasian steppe, the Saka tribes stood out. These were nomads and great warriors of the steppe. This story begins with a brief biography of Tomiris' father, King Spargap. As a legitimate heir to the royal throne, he becomes embroiled in a war among the Saka clans. The chiefs are in no hurry to unite under one rule, defending their own interests. With sword and word, Spargap tries to bring them together. In this troubled time, his daughter Tomiris is born. Her mother, whom he loved dearly, dies during childbirth, leaving him to raise his daughter alone. From an early age, Tomiris learns the hardships of camp life and military affairs. One day, a conspiracy against her father is organized, resulting in his death. The young Tomiris manages to escape her father's killers, but a bounty is soon placed on her head as well. How she survives, you will find out in the film. Well, that's all for today. I hope you found something interesting from the fantasy genre to enjoy your evening. If so, please support this video with a like and the channel with a subscription. See you in the next videos.